Hi guys, welcome to Real Talk Saturdays, the show where I talk about either a subject that you submitted via the comments or social media or that I wanted to talk about. This week, what I'm going to talk about is a subject that's actually been on my mind. I was talking with a friend about what I was eating, and it turned out that, there are quite a few misleading diet trends that I think have kind of messed up people's ways of thinking about food, and I thought, why not talk about misleading diet trends? I feel like it's a thing now where people believe all sorts of things and sometimes they're not even true. So the first thing I want to talk about is the fat-free diet, because that's what I was talking about with my friend. She noticed that I was eating a lot of fat, like good fats, avocado, coconut oil, peanut butter, and so she was like, well, isn't that like the worst way to lose body fat? Like, aren't you trying to lose weight type thing? And I was like, no dude, it's actually a great way to lose weight. And I think for most people it's misleading because when they think low fat, they think fat loss, and it's for them it doesn't go the other way, right? And it's actually been proven, and you can totally Google it, people can lose a significant amount of body fat using good dietary fats. And yeah, it's no secret anymore, but it feels like people are just not tuned into that. They're not educated on that aspect. And another trend that's been kind of along the same lines is sugar-free. The sugar-free diet at first was like, everybody was a diabetic basically, and they were just like, oh, eat this food, it's, sugar-free, there's less sugar, you're less likely to develop diabetes. And then, nowadays you have the studies where it's more like, ooh, sugar's bad for you, you shouldn't eat sugar, here are all the ways that sugar is toxic. So sugar-free, I think, still has kind of some traction. The thing that people don't realize and why it's so misleading is sugar-free does not mean additive-free or artificial sweetener-free. Basically, when you see a food labeled as sugar-free, there's aspartame, there's sucralose, there's, pretty much any artificial sweetener is basically full of chemicals and man-made in a lab. It's not from nature, not even stevia anymore anyway. And honestly, for me, not knowing what these things are going to cause down the line, like what if I wake up with like some god fucking knows new illness from all these additives? Like, we don't know. And if you do want to go for the sucralose, for all the other additives, just know that it's not because you're eating them that there's no sugar involved. Some of them are actually made with sugar alcohols. And a funny story that I read the other day on Twitter, this girl was using xylitol on her tea, on her cereal, basically all morning, and then she tweeted, I just found out xylitol was a laxative. Now I feel funny, like TikTok girl, that's gonna suck in a few hours. So I think we really need to be careful with those things. Given the choice between honey and stevia, which I think tastes awful, they don't taste good to me, I'd much rather have honey, or even better, maple syrup, because I'm Canadian and I know what I'm getting into with maple syrup. There's not that much processing going on, and you know what? Honestly, I know it's sugar, but at least I know where it comes from. Another trend that I think has been filling people's minds with unrealistic expectations is superfoods. I mean, just like superheroes, how they're kind of too good to be true? Don't we all wish that they would just come in and save us from ourselves? Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think that's what we hope that they do, right? Did you know that most foods have some kind of property that's probably very beneficial to our health? Crazy, I know, right? Most foods have good things and bad things in them, They're not just one thing. And just to prove it to you, I'm going to try one superfood right now that I got at the local Costco. And alright, superfood! So this is Anti-Plus, a superfruit. I'm reading kind of opposite here. Superdose Detox Protection. It sounds so great, right? It's pure cranberry juice. Ladies, I'm sure you've heard of cranberry juice. It helps you not have pee-pee infections. So this is great if that's what you want. I'm not sure about the detoxing part, and oh look! It's even graded into doses in case you want to be sure to get all your non-pee-pee infection juice. Aside from that, It's basically carbs. There's not much in here. Like, I know you can't read from that far, but it's mostly carbs. Like, for every cup there's 22 grams of carbs and not much else. It's just sugar. So I don't know if you want to call that a superfood. I mean, what constitutes a superfood? I don't even know. I think it's invented, honestly. It's the food industry. We're just like, hey, new superfood, cranberries. Yeah, cranberries. I mean, we all know they're good for you. So do you want to know how good this is though? I'm going to sacrifice myself and try some just to show you how good superfoods are. Remember, pure cranberry juice. No, oh, that's awful. And I don't know why I expected anything better than raw cranberry juice. If I were you guys, I would just not bank on any of these superfoods because they're not going to save you. They're good for you. If you want to have them with a balanced diet, go ahead. But if you want these to save you or make you lose weight, don't bank your whole health on that stuff. It's not realistic, in my opinion. Now, of course, if a superfood, let's say, is wrapped in chocolate, I might be inclined to saying that it's really, really good for you, you know? Like acai or acai wrapped in dark chocolate. Sure, I'll vouch for that. I'll bank my health on that. Just kidding. Want one? Speaking of our friend here, I want to talk about juice cleanses and detoxes because they've been kind of misleading and dangerous in some cases. I'm not talking about when you don't want to eat your veggies and you throw all that shit in a blender and you have it as your meal. That's not what I mean. I mean those organizations and places that sell juice cleanses as a way to lose weight, or like it's a juice that you drink for X amount of days and people drink them and they don't have any other food and they become hangry and basically they lose 30 pounds. That's great, buddy, but you're not losing weight because of those foods and those yummy shakes. You're losing weight because you're on a liquid diet and you're consuming about a third of the calories that you would normally consume. There's no secret to that. And honestly, there's no magic bullet, by the way, guys. That's super unhealthy. And another scary thing is that people are using these to lose weight, and then, like, young girls, somebody told me about this on Twitter. I was so mad. Young girls are using these things to lose weight, and then they ask nutritionists and bloggers and people in the health industry how to reintroduce solid food. How sad is that? And how dangerous is that? They're not even having full meals ever. They're just having juices, and they're probably skeletal. Like they're probably super skinny, and because they have this idea of what they should be, they're just consuming juice, no protein or barely any. It's all carbs, right? So my heart breaks when I think of that, because how sad is it that that's where we are right now in the weight loss and nutritional industry? Like, how misleading is that? They just want your money. They don't care about your health. And do you know what you're doing to your health? Rapid weight loss is just, it's not good for your body. Why do you think you don't gain 100 pounds in a month? Because your body just doesn't work that way. If it goes up slowly, it should also go down slowly. Like, your weight is not a yo-yo, and you're just damaging your body by doing these things. And especially if you're not consuming enough protein, enough fats, if you're not having enough nutrients and calories to fuel your body, you're basically just slowly killing yourself. That's why you're losing weight. And the last diet trend I want to talk about, I need to put up a little disclaimer over here on my forehead. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but I do want to clarify something that I think people just might not be aware of and are doing it out of ignorance, maybe? Yeah, I'm talking about gluten-free. Just so you know, the gluten-free diet was made for people who can't digest gluten. And those people are people who are diagnosed by a doctor as having celiac disease. It's an illness, just FYI. So if you haven't been diagnosed by a doctor, I would highly advise you not to walk around saying that you need to not eat gluten. It's not a weight loss thing. some idiot, some asshole decided that it would be great to sell it as a weight loss diet. That's true. That much is true. The thing is, people who have celiac disease don't lose weight because they're on that diet. They lose weight because they're sick. Like, does that sound good to you? It doesn't to me. And put yourself in their shoes for a minute. If somebody was identifying with your disease and walking around telling people that they had the same thing as you, but that they weren't living through what you've gone through, wouldn't you be offended? Like, to me, that's super insensitive, right? Like, I think I have a lactose intolerance. Now, I don't go walking around telling people I'm allergic to dairy and, I have all this medical stuff because I haven't been diagnosed by a doctor. I just know what dairy does to me. Hey Val, do you want to go for pizza with us? Hey, no, sorry, I think I'll pass. I mean, I love dairy, I love cheese, but cheese doesn't love me back, if you know what I mean. No, I don't know what you mean, Val. Well, if you're gonna ask, I mean, first I get bloated, and then I get the farts, and then of course I have diarrhea. So, no pizza for me, thanks. How's that sound? No? Anyone? That kind of conversation you probably don't want to have. That's the type of conversation I have with really close friends, and we laugh about it, but I don't tell people I have an illness if I don't have it, You're not a doctor, neither am I. So guys, I'm all for, making better dietary choices. I'm all for eating healthy, being nutritionally aware, Googling papers that have all the information. You can find it all online, If gluten makes you poop, if dairy gives you diarrhea, don't eat it. Just know that if you're gonna pick the gluten-free pizza, or in my case, the lactose-free, gluten-free pizza at the restaurant, just know that you're eating carbs anyway. You know that, right? Like, gluten-free still uses, like, the flour, the dough. Most baked goods made from gluten-free flour are still full of carbs, so you're not really making any better choices, in my opinion. I mean, we all know that if you eat too many carbs, you're probably gonna get fat. So that's it for me today. I hope it was informative and probably funny at my own expense. That's what I aim for. I don't mean to scold you. I don't mean to laugh at you. Just know that I'm trying to make this world a better place. If you have anything that you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. Let me know on social media. You know I'm available. And I hope you have a good weekend, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye! And if you want to talk about diarrhea, I can talk some more about diarrhea. I'm just saying.
Crazy mother.